How's it going, everybody? Rye here today, and we are back with your Colorado Rockies here in the off-season of season number 1, a season where we did not do as poorly as I would have thought. I mean, we finished, it's not quite finished yet, but we finished with 72 wins, which is more than I thought we would. I think the Rockies in real life, they may get there. They'll probably get to 70 wins. I know the Royals and the Athletics probably won't. But the Rockies may get there. So pretty solid season here. Nolan Jones growing like a fiend, got the new contract through 2028. It is backloaded as well. So what is that? 5 seasons? I think it is 5 more seasons after this one. Will be 29, maybe 30, depending on when his birthday is. And he's just going to continue to be one of the staples there in the outfield. Chris Bryant is technically an outfielder, but I believe he played more at third based on the lineups this season. He was a DH too. He played in right against lefties. They did kind of switch it up. But Charlie Blackmon, I'm going to have to say sayonara to him. He's 36. He's regressing heavily. I do hope he retires. So it's one of those, he retires as a Colorado Rocky. I really don't want to see him get signed by like the Miami Marlins and play in AAA all season and then retire. It just wouldn't feel right to me. So I'm hoping he does actually retire. Taking a look at the budget, though, one of the guys that we do need to think about here is Randall Grichuk. I mean, he was our all-star this year. He did drop off technically, but I think his MLB stats, in 568 at-bats, he batted almost 300, OPS of 830. He had almost 20 home runs, runs created of 94.7. So I think for now, I think we're probably okay to re-sign him for another year, right? Like our surplus this year is 47.6. Nobody else really is going to take up a huge amount of our budget. Pierce Johnson, he was good, but we may end up letting him walk. He had 4 blown saves and only 3 saves. He actually was not very good. They did move him around in the bullpen. Brad Hand here, 14 holds and 45 innings pitched. 4.17 ERA is not the best for a reliever, so we might let Brad Hand walk as well. CJ Cron, again, like I said, one of those guys. He batted 232, OPS of sub 700. He's growing, but for the contract that he's probably asking for, it's a no from me. So I think, just sorted by overall, really the guys that we need to worry about, maybe Justin Lawrence. I mean, he was really good. I say really good. He was solid. Nothing special, but we do also want to make sure we leave room for the youngsters that are growing, that are up and coming here. John Cannon, he's not going to be ready probably to be in the bullpen. Zach Veen, is he going to be ready for the majors? Maybe one more year in the minor leagues. He is only 21. Same thing with Junior Caminero. Ezequiel Tovar, obviously, of another full season. We've got him locked up for 4 more. And I'm excited to see what he does with another full season. Isaiah Cole here. We'll see how he continues to grow. He's got, a decent stat distribution. He's not quite ready. Roger Villafuerte, we'll see. We also drafted, I forgot his name. We'll see him in a second here once we get to the calendar ticks over. We'll see him. But Benny Montgomery and Adael Amador, I mean, so it may be one more year of us, not really calling these guys up. Maybe Anthony Francisco makes it to the majors. You guys are going to have to let me know what I do about that. But I know some of these guys still in the upper 60s. Zach Veen's really the one I'm most intrigued with. We'll go ahead and advance the day. We'll actually sim to the offseason, excuse me. And we can take a look at who's going to win the World Series. It's the Rangers defeating the Dodgers in the 2023 World Series. I'm not going to jump ahead just yet. And you guys can see they beat Boston in 7. Boston beat the Angels, who were the wild card team. Boston was the 1 seed. Wow, that's wild. That's crazy. Anyway, they lost to Texas in 7. The Dodgers beat the Braves. That feels a little bit more realistic over there in the National League. But we'll advance today now. And we are done with our contracts for some of our coaches, which is good news because our coaching staff was trash. Hitting coach, pitching coach, and first base coach have all ended. Need to re-sign some of these guys and 5 days to negotiate with some players. Qualifying offers 19.9. Retired players is anybody from the Rockies. Rockies, come on. Oh no, he didn't retire. I was really hoping he would retire. But he's not going to retire as a 72. He wants to keep going. He wants to play another season, and I guess, I'm not going to stop him or blame him for doing that, but Miguel Cabrera and Robinson Cano are the Hall of Famers from this class. But here we go. here is what we have. Our projected surplus is 125 million. Oh my goodness. We're going to make we're going to make an offer. Yeah, we'll just make an offer of, I think I'll give him 3 years, Randall Grichuk, till he's 35. I mean, he's got great contract and he's a contact and he's a solid fielder. That clutch also is pretty darn good. So we'll give him the 7-8 million a year. See what we'll see if that does end up working. But CJ Cron here was just terrible, right? Making him an offer he doesn't want a ton of money, but at 34, I'm going to cut ties with him and move on. Charlie Blackmon, he wants to come back, but like I said, it's just, I mean, 1 more year at 2 million. No, I can't do it. Sentimentality is one thing, but I just can't do it. Brad Hand, like we said, was not a very good pitcher. Brent Sutter was actually pretty good. 107 innings pitched for us. What's his stamina? 29. So he was definitely in the bullpen with a 3.18 ERA. Man, 107 innings pitched. He was really, really leaned on. ERC of 3.06. So Brent Sutter, what do you want to come back? I think I'll give him another 3-year deal. And can I give him 2.3 up the offer a little bit? I'll give him the 2.2 a year. That feels a little bit better. There we go. Luis Cessa, I mean, unless he wants something incredibly cheap, which is not the case, he's not going to come back. And Fernando Abad is looking for a couple $100,000 a year. I'm not going to do that. So we currently have 115 million in projected surplus. That is wild. Of course, that is going to change. I think I'll get rid of Bud Black. I think I don't expect us to make the playoffs. Maybe we will, considering how close we ended up being for most of the season. I think I will get rid of Bud Black here. It's going to cost us $1 million, but we kind of have cash to spare. I think Pierre Altman can stay as the farm director, but I mean, -3 reaction, -2 fielding. I mean, Braden Dea, it's going to cost us 1.77, and that's fine. Our projected surplus is now 127, but now managers for hire, so I can kind of go after whoever I want to. And I'll go ahead and do this. You know, I'll try and find the pairs and the groupings that, you know, where if somebody's got really good positives but terrible negatives, I'll find somebody that makes up for that, and so on and so forth. But obviously not rebranding the team. Free agent negotiations, really it's just Grichuk and Sutter that I want to bring back. Hopefully Grichuk does come back, because that contact and vision is pretty solid, makes me happy. And the clutch is great. So I mean, when there's runners on second, his contact goes up. I mean, it's a good way to get a good amount of RBIs, and he had 76 this past season. So I'm pretty happy with how he played. Hopefully he can keep it up. Like I keep saying, he was our all-star, our token all-star. I love it. But hopefully he does come back. I will review the staff, and I'll catch up with you guys when free agency 1 starts in 6 days. So we are here at the start of free agency number 1. I've kind of messed with the 40-man just a little bit. Pretty much everybody that I care about that I could lose is on the 40-man right now. We still have 6 spots, which is nice. Salary arbitration is going to be an interesting one for us, because I really don't think there's anybody. I don't want to bring back Austin Gomber. I mean, he didn't pitch great. Pierce Johnson was a really, really good closer, but dropping off at 32. He is from Colorado. Didn't have a great season. Ty Bloch, no, don't have any interest in him. And Harold Castro, no, thank you. You guys can see that I do have 21.8 million in pending outstanding, and that's because I went through and offered pretty much everybody that I wanted to bring back a contract. Justin Lawrence here. I mean, maybe a guy we want to bring back. It's a renewable contract. He's only looking for $750 a year for 2 years, so I may do that just because he's a 76 overall. And look at that. Yeah, $600,000 a year. I think I'm absolutely going to do that. He's probably going to drop off a bit. Jonathan Daza, I mean, if I do another year, I can get him probably around the 700,000 mark, maybe less. I mean, it's not the end of the world if I'm paying $580,000 and he ends up playing in the minor leagues. Drew Rusinski? I think it's Rusinski. I may end up signing him just for like depth in the system. He is 35, so I mean, 1 more year at whatever it's going to cost, like 580. It is. Yeah, that's worth it to me. Zach Veen, I've offered. I don't want Phillips Valdez back. He's 32. He's replaceable. We have a closer in every level at this point. Taking a look at the roster, you guys can see closing pitchers. Yeah, there's Phillips Valdez. We got Lucas Gilbreth, who, you know, is younger and the same overall. I may end up releasing him. Yeah, release. Yeah, there we go. So we now have somebody for every level. We'll move him to the MLB, and we will send Pierce Johnson to AAA. Oh, he cannot be sent down without clearing optional waivers. No, I'm not going to do that just yet. So we'll just keep them both up for now. John Cannon is the future, though, the future closer. And those are the tendered contracts. You guys can see that we still have not gotten Randall Grichuk or Brent Sutter to sign their contracts. I assume they'll be back. But then the big guys in free agency again. Shohei Ohtani is getting a 10-year, $35 million contract from the Los Angeles Angels. And I mean, obviously, I always see him hit free agency, so I guess they just don't really want to bring him back. But we may end up spending less than you might expect. So looking at the depth chart right now, we've got Tovar at short, who I want him taking, the 500 at-bats he was. I kind of want to just permanently move Chris Bryant to third at this point. In my mind, he's a third baseman that can play in the outfield, and that's where we really used him. We've got Francisco, who I could end up calling up for first base, right? Anthony Francisco here. I think I may end up playing him. He may be the one guy that gets to spend all year in the majors. Michael Toglia is fine and all. He had an okay season in 60 at-bats. He had, I can't really judge much off 60 at-bats, so I'm not even going to try. But I think Anthony Francisco here is a guy I kind of want to call him up. I kind of want to just give him the reins at first base there and see what he does. Anyway, going back to the depth chart, we got Ryan McMahon and Brendan Rodgers splitting time here at second. They're both natural second basemen. McMahon can play first, which is probably, I'll probably end up playing McMahon at first and then Chris Bryant at third. And then Brendan Rodgers can have second base all to himself. I think that's what I'm going to do, actually. Oh, I can view free agents just at second. Oh, that's actually kind of nice. Oh, wow. I didn't even realize I could do that. Let's go ahead and just view free agent starting pitchers, and there they are. I actually really appreciate that feature. So I can come in here and look at, say, hey, we need an outfielder, right? View free agents, left field, Joey Gallo, boom, right? All right, so maybe I'll go through here, edit those guys, and then we'll take a look at free agency at the positions of need. So I just went ahead and tried to make the depth chart look a little bit better. We got Ryan McMahon shouldn't be playing first. I have him as the third baseman just because that 97 fielding, 87 reaction versus Chris Bryant's 54 and 46. They could both play first and they could both play third. So Chris Bryant going to first base with Ryan McMahon going to third just kind of feels right to me. And obviously, it's not going to update the lineup just yet, but we'll take a look here. Yeah, you can see Ryan McMahon now at third, Chris Bryant here at first, Brendan Rodgers at second, Tovar at short. We are going to have to worry about depth, right? Maybe we need to sign an infield utility guy that can play the middle infield, as well as a backup. One more backup, I think, at maybe the corner of the infield. So probably signing two. I don't really think there's anybody that we have. Like I said, Anthony Francisco, I'd like him to get as many at-bats as possible. And now with Chris Bryant moving over to first base and moving in from the outfield, I don't really see him getting as much playing time. Michael Toglia here, he can play first or the outfield. He's just not good enough. At second base, we don't have anybody there. Junior Caminero, I don't want him to just platoon, right? I want him to bat every day. I may play him in Double-A. And then at short, Ezequiel Tovar. And there's really not many others around him, right? Then in the outfield, we got Nolan Jones, Zach Veen. I'd like to give him one more year to grow. Like I said, all these young guys that we're looking at, right? Francisco, Veen, Adel, Amador. Well, I want them to grow one more year, right? So I think we need to at least get stopgap options that I'm fine with moving on from, or one-year deal kind of players, and then turn the keys over to those guys. Or maybe, next year they can platoon with them, right? So we don't necessarily need world beaters, but I'd like to get Grichuk back at center, Nolan Jones at right. We probably need a left fielder that's not Jurickson Profar. He batted 199. Good Lord. And he's making $7.5 million. He can pretty much play anywhere. So he's probably fine to be one of those guys. I still need, I think, a starting left fielder and another backup outfielder. That'll give us two backup outfielders if we get Grichuk back. Nolan Jones in right, somebody in left, and Grichuk at center. So that would be ideal. Although Jonathan Daza here doesn't look too bad. He only played in 25 games last year. Had a runs created of 12. It's really too small of a sample size to really say anything, but I mean, he's got really good contact, really good vision, solid clutch, a decent arm. I mean, he could be a guy that I end up, if we can't find anybody reasonable in free agency, that we could go there. And then at catcher, I think I'm fine with Elias Diaz. Maybe Brian Severin could be upgraded from. I mean, he wasn't anything special last year. Did he hurt the team? No, he actually generated a positive WAR, but he is dropping off, so I'm not sure. But I think I will end up keeping him around at 28. I would need to renew his contract. Do I have a contract offered to him right now? I do. I do have a contract offered to him, so he will most likely come back on that. And then take a look at free agency. We have 90-ish million to spend. So looking at outfielders here, Joey Gallo's not really what I'm looking for. Jock Peterson, JD Martinez. JD Martinez against righties, great, sure, but not really somebody. Yeah, I mean, holy smokes, that is massive drop off. And I didn't bring back Charlie Blackmon for that reason. But, just one of these guys that can sort of do it all. Somebody I'm fine with. I mean, Duvall, oh man, had a rough growth. He's just plummeting down. But, Charlie Blackmon, yikes, is one of those guys there. McCutcheon's got that A potential, so he's hanging in there. Hunter Renfroe, there's Teoscar Hernandez. I just don't really want to go after one of the top guys. I don't think we're ready. I mean, Hunter Renfroe, I think, is solid enough where we could play him there in the left. He's got a really good bat. And center field, I am still going after Kendall Grichuk. Could I get one of these guys to play left field for me? One of these guys that maybe is a better hitter than he is a fielder? I'm going to take a look, offer some contracts, and I'll show you guys where I'm at once we've started spending some of this money. So I've just about wrapped up finishing everybody I thought would be a good fit a contract offer. And now I know there's quite a few here. There's some exciting ones, some interesting ones, but really, I don't want to spend a ton on one or two players. We just have too many holes to fill. I want to be a competitive team, fill the roster that I think can make the wild card or at least be right around it this next season, and then give us some leeway as we continue to grow and get better and learn and develop some of the players that we drafted. So we'll start here with Lucas Giolito. He had an absolutely dominant season. I know 4.04 ERA is not exactly what you want to see, but 17 quality starts in his 31 game started. That's over 50%. So I thought that was pretty good. And a 3.55 ERC. I think that's solid. He's not qualified. And that's one of the things about these top guys, right? These qualifying offers made. These guys, you have to give up a pick, I'm pretty sure, by going after one of these guys that say qualifying offer made. So really, I didn't want to go after any one of those guys because we're not in the position where we really need all the draft picks possible. But Lucas Giolito is the number one guy I'm going after. But then after him is Joey Gallo. He's going to be our starting left fielder for now. And I know his stat distribution kind of goes against what we've been acquiring, which is a lot of contact and a lot of clutch. He's discipline and power. The vision is horrible, but the fielding is fine. And if you take a look at his stats, in 471 at-bats, he had 34 home runs for Minnesota and had a runs created of 94.7. You guys know I love using that metric to find myself some hitters that I may overlook or to steer myself away from players with a high overall that just aren't going to produce. He had a 5.0 WAR, and I'm not expecting the 5.0 WAR, but what I thought about Joey Gallo was with the 5-year deal, he is 30. He'd be 35 at the end of it, right? So he just start to decline a little bit. But he's one of those guys that if we have an outfielder that comes up, Zach Veen, and we want to get him starting, Joey Gallo can easily slot into the DH. He's got the hitting ability that I would want to see out of the DH, and I feel like it would not be wasted. Plus, he can play first or third, so if somebody needs to be spelled or something like that, he can easily shift from the DH to any one of those positions. The next pitcher that we're going after is Michael Lorenzen. So I was fine getting one of them. If we get both of them, great. Lorenzen's a lot tighter as far as the interest bar. But if Giolito or Lorenzen don't come to us, then so be it. Hopefully we get one or both. I'd be fine with that. He's another one of those guys that 4.08 ERA, but his ERC was around 3.5, 2.0 WAR. So I really think he's one of those guys that, I mean, he's just going to elevate our pitching staff. Our pitching staff was horrific last year, so just not something I want to repeat. I want to at least have average pitching this year. Next is Andrew McCutchen, and I know I got rid of Charlie Blackmon because he was 37 and declining. However, McCutchen's A potential, I feel like he's going to regress less. And in 502 at-bats for Pittsburgh last year, he had a runs created of 85.5 and a 2.6 WAR. So really, I think he's definitely a guy that can still produce for us. He's going to be that, a reserve outfielder. Hopefully Grichuk does come back. Hopefully we get Gallo. We've got Nolan. I think it's Nolan Jones, Nolan Joseph. Nolan Jones. Yeah, that's right. Nolan Jones out and right. And then we got McCutchen to be, the reserve outfielder out there. He can come in and spell whoever. And then we've got, whether Jerkson Profar stays up or Jonathan Daza gets the call up, I think we're going to be fine. Benny Montgomery gets another year to grow. Zach Veen gets another year to grow. Yanquiel Fernandez gets another year to grow. I think we're going to kind of let them simmer one more year. I don't want to rush them up. That's the same thing that I did with Francisco at first base. Yeah, Anthony Francisco. B potential 70, only 20 years old, so I really don't want to rush him. And then with our starting pitchers, speaking of rushing, I don't know if I can really leave this guy out of the starting rotation on the opening day roster, is Clifford Murdoch, our third round pick, the right-handed 6'5" from New Jersey. B potential at 74. He's going to be our fifth starter, assuming we get both Giolito and Lorenzen. So I feel like we have a good plan there with the pitching. I still want Grichuk to come back. I'm hoping to get McCutchen just to be that fourth outfielder for us. Joey Gallo, like I said, one of those guys that can slot in at the DH once we start to get some of those young guys coming up. Andrew McCutchen, it's a one-year deal. It's not going to hurt us, and he's been more productive than Charlie Blackmon. You guys know about Randall Grichuk. Gio Urshela, then, is that guy that I was like, you know what? I needed somebody that could play anywhere in the infield, and he can now. If he plays short, the fielding is going to leave a little bit to be desired, but that contact, the vision, the clutch, he's kind of got what we want out of especially a utility player. He played 546 at bats for the Angels last year, batted .291, had a WAR of 2.1 and a runs created of necessarily 80, almost 80, which I think is very, very high quality. Then I'm going after a couple bullpen arms. Chris Stratton would be the new one. Brent Sutter and Brad Hand. I decided to give Brad Hand, I think, a 2-year deal. Yep, he is only 34. And then Sean Rivas, he's 29, A potential. We'll see. We'll throw him in there. Maybe he develops into a 71, a 73, one of those guys that we can just put in our bullpen instead of actually being a closer. But those are the offers we have outstanding right now, guys. The coaches are almost done. As far as tendering contracts, I'm waiting for everybody to sign, but we have 75.7, so 76 million offered out there with 112 in surplus. So that's giving us about 36-ish to play with once everybody signs, if they do sign. So we do have plenty of budget remaining. I'm not a team that I think wants to spend up to the budget just yet. We'll hopefully see everybody sign in soon. So a couple days have passed, and I do want to show you guys that we are done with our coaches. Our new manager is going to be Ron Washington. He gets the +3 contact, +3 plate vision, but the -1 fielding and -2 walks per 9. We signed Dirk Rivera as our pitching coach. He is going to make up for that +2 or that -2 in walks per 9, and the -1 fielding is easily made up for by Bob McGrath, and then PJ Jensen's +2 gets boosted for free. So we get basically no negatives from Ron Washington, and we get +3 contact and +3 plate vision. Then with Derek Shelton, our hitting coach, he's going to give us +3 power and +2 clutch. So again, going to help us drive in a lot more runs. The -1 drag bunting, I don't care about. And the -2 plate vision is coming out of Ron Washington's +3. So he's still giving a +1. And then we get +3 power, +3 contact, +2 clutch. Dirk Rivera here, no negatives to talk about. I showed you that he makes up for the -2 in the walks per 9, but control, home runs per 9, and hits per 9. I think that's exactly what we need. PJ Jensen here is giving us +1 speed and stealing, +2 fielding, which makes it, only, +1 because of our manager, Ron Washington, and +1 arm accuracy. Bob McGrath basically does the same stuff, but +2 reaction. Then our farm director here gives +1 speed, +1 reaction, and +1 contact. So I believe when everything is said and done, we're getting +4 contact, +3 power. So our hitters are getting a significant boost from our coaching. One other thing to note here is that we did not end up getting, oh, I don't care. We did not end up getting signings. Yeah, we did not end up getting Michael Lorenzen. Not trades, roster related, all transactions. The Tigers, he ended up going back to the Tigers. There he is, a 2-year, $19 million contract. So we did not end up getting him. But you know, so far things in the offseason have gone fine for us. I really don't have anything to complain about, and hopefully we get all the guys that we offered. Well, this is news I didn't want to see, and it's something that I now have to deal with. Shohei Ohtani goes to San Francisco, which means Shohei comes to the National League, staying out west here, and is now in our division. But the good news for us, despite Shohei going to the Giants, is Lucas Giolito is going to sign with us, which I think is an absolute steal. He is going to be our ace, and I think he's going to be a good one at that. Oh yeah, Blake Snell also went to the Dodgers, so there's another guy in our division that we have to freaking deal with. It is what it is. But taking a look here, you guys can see Peter Lambert. Yeah, take your pick. Pretty much everybody that was important is still yet to be signed. We've got a couple guys here. McCutchen did sign. Jack Flaherty was my replacement, so I did want to mention that after Lorenzen. Jack Flaherty, I decided to go after him. He's 28 with A potential at 78 overall. We'll see. Should he have a really good year thanks to our coaching, or just down to our luck? You know, maybe he hits that A potential and starts to fly into the mid 80s for us when he hits 30. But it was a 2-year deal. He's an upgrade. Without Giolito, he would have been our starting or ace, which is wild, but pretty happy nonetheless. Other than that, I don't think I can see anything too crazy. Stratton accepted our offer, and I'll continue to update as we go throughout free agency. So we are going to retain a key outfielder from last season. Randall Grichuk is coming back on $8 million a year for the next 3 seasons. Michael Toglia is going to come back for 2 years, and then Jonathan Daza, who we're planning on having on the bench for this upcoming season, is coming back to a 1-year, $580,000 contract. So far, so good here in free agency. As far as players that we still are offering to, Joey Gallo's being fickle, and is just not signing the dang thing. Sign the dotted line, please, Joey. Brent Sutter and Brad Hand are still waiting to see if anybody gives him something better. Same thing with Gio Urshela, but Joey Gallo, come on, man, just take the contract. You know it's the best one. Here we are, guys, at the draft lottery. Just got through the winter meetings, and I was kind of looking around, poking around. There may be something. Joey Gallo still has not signed and is the #1 free agent left. So I'm starting to get a little bit worried about that, but we have 10% odds for the #1 pick. The Nationals, obviously, at 58 and 104, and then Athletics, and them and the Orioles at 70 and 92. Man, so 2 games made the difference between us, and 6.5%. That's kind of wild, but it is what it is. 10%. Let's simulate the draft lottery. See, are we going to move up in the draft, or are we going to move down? Could we get a top 3 pick? Come on. Oh my God, the Astros jumped 16 spot. Are you the Houston Astro? Dude, how? So we are going to move down from 5 to 6. Poor Washington. I mean, the Astros didn't make the playoffs, and they were the best team to not make the playoffs. 83 and 70. How does a team above 500 end up winning that is wild. Anyway, we're moving down a spot. The Astros are up 16. Our pick will be number 6. And now that the draft lottery is done, we are here at the Rule 5 draft. So let's go ahead, get it underway. We have the 5th pick here. No Houston Astros jumping up from the 18th pick, or no nonsense like that. Oh my goodness. That's a lot of players. Justice Sheffield going to the Nationals. Jorge Alcala, who, if you guys remember from my Red Sox series, was a fantastic pitcher for us. Zach Plesac goes to the oh wow, I can actually see their potential now. Justice Sheffield, I can't believe I can see their potential. I thought that was actually their overall. I was actually a little bit more surprised. And then Diego Castillo goes next. But let's see who is available. Alex Reyes, maybe not a bad option. Let's see who they recommend. Is Nico Holzer? I don't know if I want him. I guess I can take a look around through the positions, but I mean, it's sorting by potential right now and not overall. Meanwhile, I have to keep all these players in the majors for 1 year. Mike Vasil could be a guy. I mean, a right-handed pitcher here at 70. I mean, I could throw him in the bullpen for a year, see if he grows. I don't know what his potential is. Alex Reyes probably is not going to be as good as his A potential ever suggests. Tyler Moztek, I mean, he could be a relief pitcher for us. A lefty relief pitcher at 77 overall, $1.5 million for 1 year. I might not oppose to that. I don't know how he's going to pitch. But yeah, I think he's the best guy. He's 77 overall. Everybody else, nobody else really looks like a player that's jumping out to me. So I might take him and make him our closer, because we don't really have a closer of any quality right now. Make the other guys relievers. I think Tyler Matzek, at 33 with 1 year left on his deal at 1.5 million. Why not? We'll take him. Oh my goodness, there's quite a few players going still in this draft. I am going to okay, my 40-man roster is now full, which is why I always leave one spot just in case. But there we go. Nobody was taking anybody else anyway, and we can exit the Rule 5 draft and take a look here. A roster at now our new closing pitcher, Tyler Matzek. We have a full 40-man. I really want to fix that. Gavin Hollowell. Yeah, I think I'll let Gavin Hollowell designate him for assignment. There we go. And we now only have 39 players on our 40-man, and if Joey Gallo decides to sign, we'll be okay. Holy smokes. Bobby Witt Jr. is on the move. Bobby Witt Jr. gets traded from the Royals at 93 overall at 23 for Freddie Peralta, Jackson Chourio, and Sal Frelick. What the heck is that trade? In what world? In what world would the Royals do that trade? Oh my God. I know you guys, I'm going to move, hope I moved the camera here in editing, but holy smokes, what is this deal? Okay, so upon further investigation, it's not as crazy as I thought, but a 93 at 23 with A potential. I don't know how good he could get, but it's gonna be crazy. They got Freddie Peralta, who's immediately the best player on their team here. 27, 86 A potential. He's got, years left on his deal. Maybe that's what they were worried about. And then taking a look here, Jackson Chourio and Sal Frelick are both top prospects. 20-year-old Jackson Chourio, 72 at A potential, can play pretty much anywhere in the outfield and in the infield, or in middle infield. And then Sal Frelick, left fielder who can play at second. I mean, these are two really, really good prospects, but still, man, I don't think I would be moving on from Bobby Witt Jr. had I done a Royals franchise. Spoiler alert, Joey Gallo has signed with us. I didn't even notice. Nothing popped up. I thought him being the #1 free agent available, something would pop up when he signed with us, but he did. He's here. He's a Colorado Rocky, which makes Jurickson Profar expendable. I was just like, you know what? If Bobby Witt Jr. can move, maybe I'll sniff around. Ben Langston here, this first baseman, is A potential at 18, 79 overall. He may have been, was he one of those guys that, was he their first overall pick this past year? I don't know. I don't care. They're willing to give him to us for Jurickson Profar. Have fun in Detroit, Jurickson, because Ben Langston, welcome to the Colorado Rockies. Holy mackerel. I mean, I know Anthony Francisco was the future, but I mean, Ben Langston, I'm not going to pass this one up. Are you kidding me? First, third, and right fielder. I mean, now what do we do with Chris Bryant? I mean, I guess we'll still play Chris Bryant. One of them can DH, I guess. Probably Langston. Considering his arm and his fielding's not as good, his reaction is, I don't know. I'll let the manager decide, but Ben Langston, welcome to the Colorado Rockies. Oh my God, another one. Ellie De La Cruz getting traded from Cincinnati to Cleveland for Gavin Williams and Steven Kwan? That's all it took? I mean, I tried to get Ellie De La Cruz and they didn't want anything from us. So Gavin Williams, I mean, must be pretty good. Steven Kwan, I'm not sure. I want to go find out what the Reds got for their upcoming superstar. So they got Gavin Williams, who's 24, 81, A potential, right-handed pitcher. And then Stephen Kwan, 75, B potential at 26. I mean, really just a disgustingly unfair trade. I mean, it does weaken the National League quite a bit that Elly De La Cruz. I mean, look at this roster. Elly De La Cruz, 22, 86. Man, what? I've never seen something like this happen, guys, especially twice in one offseason, where Bobby Witt Jr. goes and Elly De La Cruz goes. That's crazy. I still can't believe that happened. What a wild offseason that was, but thank God it's over. We're back at spring training. I can breathe. I'm going to have to take a moment to decompress once I'm done with this, once I stop hitting record. Oh my goodness. Anyway, let's take a look at our depth chart. Giolito, Flaherty, Marquez, Flexen, and Murdoch. Chris Flexen, like I said before, was very good last season. Hoping he can continue with that. Ben Langston here at first base. They're probably starting him against righties and Chris Bryant against lefties. That would make sense. Brendan Rodgers is our second baseman. Tovar is our starting shortstop with Gio Urshela as our backup. Ryan McMahon and Gio Urshela. Urshela maybe against lefties. McMahon against righties, probably. Out in the outfield, we got Joey Gallo, Grichuk, and Nolan Jones. Chris Bryant is the DH. He is DHing with Jonathan Daza, probably just flip-flopping. Bryant's probably an everyday player at this point. As far as our bullpen is concerned, it's Matzek, Lawrence, Stratton, Ruzhinki, Tyler Kinley, Brad Hand, and a bunch of players right now because it's spring training. But we are ranked 23rd overall, which is improvement. Last in speed, but second in contact. 17th in power, so moving up in the world there. 25th in pitching and 19th in defense. So we'll see once everything shakes out. But oh my God, I need to breathe for a second. That was a crazy offseason to see Bobby Witt and Elly De La Cruz moved in the same offseason, in offseason number 1. But guys, I need a breather. I hope you guys paid attention and were with it the whole time, because I'm going to forget something. And something was obviously going to impact us in the future, and I'm going to forget it. So I hope you guys who enjoyed this one. Make sure to leave a like if you did. Subscribe if you want to see some more, and I will see you guys in season number 2.
It's a free for all, but what we